New videos every day. Life, wisdom.
What is your favorite healthy food? Is there a food that you think is healthy, but maybe you're not sure? Leave me a comment letting me know your favorite healthy food. In a previous video, I explained why nutrition information can be so confusing and so overwhelming, and I basically ruled out all the junky McJunk foods that we know we're supposed to avoid. So fried foods, refined sugar, processed foods, or anything with a really long ingredient list. And some of you are probably asking, well, gee whiz, Karina, what the heck is left for me to eat? And in this video, I'm going to tell you. Now, of course, there's still plenty of controversy about the foods I'm about to discuss, but I've done my best to really simplify it down. Just remember that every person's body is different, and there is no one perfect optimal diet that's going to be perfect for every person. So hopefully you can use this information to figure out the perfect diet for you. I want to make one quick disclaimer before we get started. As I mentioned previously, every person's body is different, and some people literally have allergies to certain foods. So you could have an allergy to any of the foods I'm about to mention, and obviously you wouldn't want to eat that food. Now, if you don't know if you have food allergies, there's a couple of ways to find out. If you just aren't feeling super healthy, or you feel like you're eating healthy but you still don't feel well, then food allergies could be a culprit. And the easiest way to determine if you have a food allergy is to eliminate the suspected food from your diet for 2 to 3 weeks, and then see how you feel when you start reintegrating that food. So some common food allergens are gluten, wheat, dairy, soy, and peanuts. But as I mentioned, you could have an allergy to any food, and you want to look into that as you're figuring out what the optimal diet for you is going to be. Fruits are loaded with vitamins, phytonutrients, and antioxidants, and they're delicious too. Since you're going to be avoiding refined sugar, fruits are going to be the best way to satisfy your sweet tooth. So let fruits be your dessert. Now, of course, fruits do contain sugar, but they also contain fiber and a whole lot of different nutrients too. And it's important to note that the fiber contained in the piece of fruit actually helps that fruit to not spike your blood sugar so much. So when you're eating a piece of fruit, it's not going to spike your blood sugar as quickly as having a soda or having a spoonful of sugar, because you've got that fiber in the fruit helping in that process. Now, of course, if you're trying to lose weight, then you probably want to go easy on the fruit. And certainly if you're eating a lot of fruit, you're going to want to be really physically active so you can burn all of those carbohydrates off. But again, fruits are a great way to enjoy and indulge your sweet tooth, and I encourage you to try all of the different fruits that are out there. Vegetables really should be the bulk of your diet. And whether you eat meat or not, every single person on the planet, myself included, would benefit from eating more vegetables. The bottom line is that our bodies, our internal organs, need a certain amount of nutrients just in order to function properly. And vegetables are one of the best ways to make sure that you're getting those nutrients. They're loaded with fiber, they're loaded with vitamins, and again, if you are not eating enough vegetables, you're never really gonna feel satisfied and full. And this is because your body just isn't getting the nutrition that it needs. So if you have been eating a diet of processed foods and you're somebody who feels like you're always hungry and feels like you're never satisfied, then the lack of vegetables, nutrients, and fiber in your diet is probably the reason for that. And when we're eating nutrient-rich foods like vegetables, we don't have to worry so much about counting calories, because suddenly you're going to get so much nutrition and fiber with these foods that you're going to fill up and feel full and satisfied before you'll be able to eat too many calories of those foods. And again, this is a topic that I've discussed in several videos, the empty calories versus nutrient-rich calories. And I think that really is the secret to not being on a diet and to not gaining the weight back, is recognizing that if we just take the empty calories out of our diet, we don't even have to worry about counting calories at all. So, vegetables. There's sweet potatoes, beets, spinach, Swiss chard, kale. There are a whole rainbow full of vegetables for you to try. As I've explained in previous videos, the white refined flour that's used in white bread, pasta, and tortillas is completely stripped of all of its fiber, its nutrients, and this refined white flour is full of empty calories. This means those calories turn straight into fat without giving your body any nutrition. It also means that this white bread and white flour products are going to significantly spike your blood sugar. Basically, it's like having pure refined sugar every time you have these white flour products. So I recommend that you significantly decrease, if not completely eliminate, those processed white flour products from your diet. Now, whole grains, on the other hand, can still be part of a healthy diet, but the trick is to look for minimally processed grains. So brown rice is a good example, millet, barley, wild rice. There are several different whole grains out there. And when you consume these minimally processed grains, they can be a really good source of fiber, minerals, nutrients, B vitamins, lots of things that we need, not only to help us feel full, but to provide good balanced nutrition. So the easiest way to find these minimally processed whole grains is probably by going to the bulk section of your grocery store or even to a health food store. For the most part, these foods are ridiculously easy to prepare, just basically water and the grain. And if you have problems digesting these grains, you can soak them or sprout them to make them even easier to digest. Another key is to not make grains the bulk of your meal or the bulk of your diet. You can kind of use them supplementally, use them as, one of the sides, one of the smaller parts of your meal. You want to have these grains in moderation, and if you do have them, be sure to opt for those minimally processed grains. Dairy products are another controversial foodstuff. Some people will say, we're the only species on Earth who eats another animal's milk, and yet it's important to notice that people have been drinking cow's milk and goat's milk for hundreds of years. So again, I'm not going to tell you whether or not you should eat dairy. This is a choice that you're going to have to make your own. But what I will mention is that dairy is a very common food allergen. And I personally have known people who have cleared up acne, asthma, arthritis, just from taking dairy out of their diet. So if you're somebody who experiences those things, it may be worth it to see if dairy is something that you actually do better by avoiding. Now, if you are going to eat dairy, then again, I have just a couple of guidelines. First off, look for the words pasture-raised or grass-fed. You want the cows who are making your dairy products to be very healthy. You want them to live on a farm and eat their natural diet so that they're actually providing the most nutrition to you in those dairy products. You also want to opt for the full fat version of whatever dairy products you're eating. So skim milk got on that fat-free craze that everybody was experiencing and trying to get all the fat out of their diet. Well, actually, the fat is what helps your body digest the dairy. So if you're eating fat-free dairy products, this could be why you're having a hard time digesting dairy. So my tips, if you are going to eat dairy, are to look for the words grass-fed and to always opt for the full fat version. Legumes. This is your beans and any plant with seeds. So actually peanuts are also a legume, even though they contain the word nut. Legumes are a great source of protein. They're a great source of B vitamins and minerals and can really be a wonderful part of a healthy diet. There are tons of different legumes out there. pinto beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, lentils, you name it. And you can significantly improve the digestibility of legumes with soaking. So beans have gotten kind of a bad rap for causing digestive discomfort, and you can completely eliminate that digestive discomfort by preparing them correctly. In a future video, I'm going to go over the process of soaking and sprouting beans, and it's the same process that can be used to make grains more easy to digest. And also adding a little bit of seaweed to the beans can also help make them easier to digest. So legumes, something you should be incorporating into your diet if you haven't already, and be sure to look out for that future video on preparing legumes as well. Nuts and seeds are loaded with fiber, protein, minerals, and healthy fats, which are integral to helping us form healthy brains. Nuts and seeds make a great addition to salads and salad dressings. They make a wonderful snack and a great addition to breakfast cereals. I also want to mention quinoa, which is often considered more of a seed than a grain. Although it makes a great substitute for rice, and it's prepared in pretty much the exact same way. And it is also something that can be tolerated, often be tolerated by people with gluten intolerance. So quinoa can be a great substitute for grains and rice, as I mentioned. And quinoa is a complete protein, which means it contains all of the essential amino acids. And if this is something you haven't heard of or aren't familiar with, I would highly recommend that you introduce yourself to quinoa. This is something that I eat on a very regular basis and is a really great part of a healthy diet. To meat or not to meat? That is probably one of the most controversial questions out there in terms of health, in terms of diet. And we have to recognize that at this point, research has indicated that eating huge amounts of red meat and eating processed meats like hot dogs, sausages, processed deli meats, any meat product with an ingredient list, has definitely been linked to clogged arteries and heart disease. And of course, there are some people who will tell you not to eat meat at all, and still others who will tell you to avoid all of the animal products, including eggs and butter. Now, I'm not going to tell you whether you should eat meat or not eat meat. You have to make that decision for yourself. And I recommend that you make that decision based on how you feel when you eat meat. Now, if you are going to eat meat, then I encourage you to do so in moderation and to be selective. So I have heard the rule of thumb that you shouldn't eat more than a palm-sized portion of meat at any given meal. So eating a huge steak that's, twice the size of your head is probably too much meat to consume at one meal. And you also want to look for the words grass-fed or pasture-raised and preferably organic. This is going to help you avoid factory farmed meat. And again, this is a topic that I've discussed on this channel before. So factory farmed animals, many of them never see the light of day. They're pumped full of antibiotics and hormones and often fed an unnatural, sometimes genetically modified diet of grains, which makes them really, really sick. So we want to avoid conventional meat, which most of which is factory farmed. And you can do so, again, by looking for the words grass-fed or pasture-raised on the packaging of any meat products or dairy animal products that you purchase. And the same thing goes for fish. You would want to look for the words wild caught. One other quick note about meat products. Meats that have been cooked at extremely high temperatures, such as frying or barbecuing, have a whole other host of other health concerns. Acrylamide is a cancer-causing chemical that is produced whenever foods are cooked at extremely high temperatures. So avoiding barbecued or charred foods, fried foods, of course, is going to be a really good option. And you can use the cooking technique low and slow. So using a low heat and cooking that meat more slowly at that low heat is going to help preserve the protein and preserve the nutrients that you're getting out of that meat you're cooking. A lot of you have asked for cooking videos, so in future videos, I'm gonna take you into my kitchen, show you how to properly prepare these foods, and simple, easy, quick ways to prepare healthy meals. And in another video, I'm going to go into more detail about the factory farming methods that are so common in our conventional meat products and why it's so important that we look for the words grass-fed. Thank you so much for watching my video. Be sure to leave your comments and future video topic requests down below. Be sure to like my video and share it with your friends. If you'd like to learn more about me and my health coaching practice, you can visit KarinaRachel.com. Please be sure to subscribe to the Psyche Truth channel, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Why is nutrition information so confusing? To find out why and for some simple guidelines on how to make nutrition more simple, check out my video, Confusing Nutrition. There are dozens of weight loss programs, weight loss pills, and all kinds of weight loss gadgets out there. But is the weight loss industry telling us the truth? Check out our video, Weight Loss Industry Lies. Going on a diet and off a diet is a sure way to gain all of that weight back. For a ridiculously simple diet, check out the easiest diet ever. I have over 100 different videos discussing nutrition, weight loss, and health. To see the official Karina Rachel playlist, click here.